Okay, so when we are dealing with new representations that we can use to represent functions, okay, there's two sort of ways we can write them. One way is that we can talk about writing something called a function rule. And it's sort of the one you've seen before, but maybe you don't remember. And a function rule is something like y equals 3x plus 4. Okay, it gives us enough information that allows us to create a table, create a mapping, create ordered pairs, plot those ordered pairs, without us needing to write them down. Okay, so it's sort of like, I guess do you guys know what like a zip drive is? Like if you have a really large file and you download it from from something, it puts it in a zip folder, right? And it has it all like sort of compact, and then you have to do something to get it to all open up. Okay, so this sort of has them all compacted up. Right? We can't really see them all. They're here, we just can't see them. Okay, to get access to them, we need to do a little bit of math. Okay, so Charisma, what's your favorite number? 3. So let's say Charisma wants to know what would get paired up with 3. Okay, the x value we are going to refer to as our input value, which is super cool because right now we're adding a new name to the list. It can be an x, it can be an input, or it can be a domain. Those are all the same thing. But the reason why we'll use the word input is because we're literally going to put it in to the given equation. So instead of saying 3 times x plus 4, okay, we're going to say 3 times 3 plus 4. I'm just replacing the x with the value that I now want to assign to it. I'm substituting it in.
Wait, could you write it as 3 in parentheses, 3 plus 4 and then end the parentheses?
No. The only thing that you are going to put in parentheses is the value that you plug in.
Okay.
Every time. If you're not sure if they go there, put them there. And just put the number in parentheses that you plug in. Okay, so what is 3 times 3?
9.
And what is 9 plus 4? 13. Okay, so we just found out when x equals 3, its partner y value is going to be 13.
Oh my goodness.
Wait, I'm confused.
You have a question? I'm watching you process.
Yeah,
I'm trying
okay.
to decide. Just tell me what you need.
So, you just took x equals 3 just off of Charisma's favorite number, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so...
You can do it. Okay, so Braden, what's your favorite number?
3.
Oh, dear.
So-
Lindsay, what's your favorite number?
7.
7.
27.
Usually I get one smart student who's like 4,752. And I'm like, okay, so x equals 7 because that's Lindsay's favorite number.
4,700.
It's just making up something, just do something ridiculous.
My second favorite number is 52.
Okay, so now we could do the process again. And instead of saying 3 times x,
3 times.
we'll say 3 times 7.
And
And
then plus.
plus 4.
Where are you getting 3 from?
I'm getting it from this 3 right here.
Oh.
And I'm getting the plus 4 from right here. And I'm literally just sort of erasing the x and replacing it with the value I want.
Is y equals 3x plus 4?
Well, that's just the equation I made up this time.
So then for the...
It's basically whatever the equation is.
It's
given to us.
whatever the equation is, you're replacing x.
So then in
Oh,
this case,
okay.
the x part right there would be 7, and then for the y be
Okay, so my x value is 7. 3 times 7 is 21.
plus 4, 25.
21 plus 4 is
25.
25. Now, could we agree that I don't have to write this in a table? I could plot those points on a graph.
Well,
could write them as ordered pairs. I could put them in a mapping. Right? Those are all different things we could do. Yes, Charisma?
Okay, so right now you're just making up numbers for the x, okay?
Yep.
On like our homework or something, will it give us an x, or do we just literally put something random?
There will be times that it will be given to us, and there will be times that we need to make them up. And as we go throughout this unit, we're going to talk about when we need to do what.
Use like 1, and that'd be fine.
Yeah.
We could use 1.3 billion if we wanted.
Right. It would be a really goofy choice, but yes. So we'll continue talking about what are good choices, what are reasonable choices. We'll do a whole reasonable domain. Okay? And maybe what are not so reasonable choices. Sometimes we'll be told what the choice is.
So
Okay.
that means if we get a little bit larger than like 25, then we have to like graph that.
Well, I wouldn't choose to graph it if my input was 25. I would choose to write it as an ordered pair.
Oh,
Right.
we have the worksheet that was saying like fill in this number.
You're gonna have just let's just keep going. We got more notes to do.
No.
Okay? Because while we have this option of a function rule, like we were just looking at, this is something we have been introduced to in past math classes.
Yeah.
Okay? Function rules are fine. We can plug values into them, but sort of the more sophisticated way to talk about a function rule is to actually write it in function notation. And what we will do is we will replace the y with this.
Oh,
Anybody know how to read this?
F.
action times action times.
You don't say.
I would say F times X, but
Now, this is all very confusing. I blame old dead men. Sorry, boys, you have to take the blame. Girls weren't allowed to do math at the time. I really just make that up. I don't know, I just say that. What do parentheses always tell us to do? Multiply. What does the word of always tell us to do? Multiply. This has nothing to do with multiplication. I don't know why we use parentheses. Boys, it's your fault.
No.
Okay, this has nothing to do with multiplication.
I did nothing.
Okay, instead what it is doing is it says we have a function and we are going to evaluate it for x. Okay, so if I had y equals 3x plus 4, I could get rid of that y and I could then replace it with f of x
Y though.
equals 3x plus 4. So right, we were dealing with y equals 3x plus 4. But now I'm going to replace it with f of x equals 3x plus 4.
So there's nothing different.
Do what?
There's nothing different.
Just that look. Okay, so Christy, favorite number? 12. So now instead of saying x equals 12, we are going to say, okay, let's evaluate the function for an x value of 12. Let's find f of 12. Now, the process is still the same. We are still going to take this 12 and we are going to put it in for x. So instead of saying 3 times x, we are going to say 3 times 12.
You're just putting it in twice now.
Kind of. Okay, so what is 3 times 12?
40.
36.
Yeah, 36.
36.
I said
And what's 36 plus 4? 40.
Oh my god.
I see. I was gonna say the answer.
Here is why function notation is sort of the sophisticated version.
The answer that you get from 36 plus 4, you just put it in equal.
Uh-huh. Here's why this is sort of sophisticated, because over here, right, my x value is here, my y value is all the way down here, so for me to sort of see them together, I had to sort of partner them up over here. But in function notation, here is my x value, here is my y value. I already see them sitting together, no problem. And here's my answer. turn it into a table. I could turn it into ordered pairs. Okay, but if all I want to know what value pairs up with 12, I can see it right there, no problem.
Oh. On a table, would you just write 12 and then put numbers?
Yep.
Are we out of here?
We are out of here 10:14. Okay, are we okay on that one? So let's say this. F of x equals negative x plus 4, and g of x equals x squared minus 3x.
So we just pick a random number.
Okay, no, not yet. For right now, there's going to be a time that is appropriate to pick a random number. Okay, we'll talk about that later. But for right now, you will be given a question like, this. Number 1, f of 3. So you have to know what f of 3 means. What does f of 3 mean?
F times 3 equals negative x plus 1.
Okay, so this means evaluate the f function when x equals 3.
So that means you don't do anything with
Okay, so why am I going to this function and not to this function?
Because it's
Because this is the f function, right? I mean, that's not too complicated. That's another piece that's nice about using function notation. We can have various letters, so we can have multiple equations at the same time. Okay, so I'm going to evaluate this, and I'm going to plug in 3 for x. Okay, so instead of saying negative x, I'll say negative 3 plus 4. What is negative 3 plus 4?
Actually, just kidding. I'm doing the math wrong.
So 1.
1. So f of 3 is 1.
If you just keep it in parentheses like that.
Yes, because this is not multiplication. So this is not asking you to solve. So don't like try and undo multiplication with division. We're not solving. This says when I took the f function and I evaluated it for 3, I got an output value of 1. Had an input of 3, I got an output of 1. Okay, are we okay there? What if I say g of negative 5?
So then you would do negative 5 squared plus 3 times.
Okay, so we're gonna plug in negative 5. How many times are we gonna plug in negative 5? Right,
times.
both of them. Because that x shows up twice, that negative 5 needs to go in for both of them. Now, it's been a while since we talked about this. Can I write this and be correct?
Yeah.
I hear some yeses and I hear some no's. What do we think? Okay, I'm going to tell you I'm on team no. This is not correct.
Okay, never mind.
Why is this not correct?
Because you're not multiplying by negative 5 on that. The right side is supposed to stay as an input.
Nope, we multiply by negative 5 there. That's right.
Because then you would have to undo subtract.
Pick up a calculator. Everyone pick up a calculator. and put into your calculator -5 squared, that part that I highlighted right there. And what do we get out?
Negative 25.
-25. Is -5 squared -25?
Apparently not.
What's -5 times -5?
25.
Positive 25.
Oh,
So why is our calculator saying -25? We've talked about this, it's just been a while.
Our
We have to
calculators
write
don't
it
like
more.
switch or whatever.
No, your calculator is correct.
Okay.
but it's the way that we format the question.
No, it's a 2 that's possible, just so it thinks you're multiplying.
Order of operations, what comes first?
No, the,
Parentheses, then
X.
exponents. So this says take 5 and square it and then make it negative. We don't want that. We want to square -5. You have to have the parentheses here. Not having parentheses is a big, big dilemma. Okay, so remember how I said, if you're not sure, put them in. Whatever you plug in goes in parentheses. Okay, so then we'll get a 25. I mean, you could type this whole entire thing in your calculator just like you see it. You can type into your calculator parentheses -5 close parentheses squared -3 times -5, 15, 25, 40, and we'd get 40.
Yeah.